I'm Shawn with American Veteran Air Conditioning. Short disclaimer, everything inside of here has the potential to kill you, and it will hurt the whole damn time it's doing it. So watch where you put your fingers, Shawn. All right, so let's dig into this a little bit. Something real simple we gotta do. Check a capacitor, right? All right, well, what's the first thing I need to do? There's two ways to check it. One of them we'll go over real quick that most people are really familiar with. It's the way I don't like doing it. And there's another way that's better, and I'll explain to you here in a little bit why that's better. So the first thing we need to do, obviously, we need to check out and find out what the heck we got. So this one right here, we got a 35 by 5 by what, 440? 370 capacitor. All right, so 35's on this one, 5's on the fan, and then we got our common coming in. All right, some gee whiz that I'm sure pretty much everybody knows. If you need to identify on any combo capacitor like this, which one's going to which, check it out. All right, so now I do have voltage power off right now. So we'll go ahead and pull, which we'd have to anyway, right? We got to isolate our capacitor, and then we got to ground it out just to make sure that we don't have any residual voltage in there. All right, so on your common side, you are always going to have 4 spades coming off on the top. On your hermetic side, your compressor side, you got 3. And on your fan side and your condenser fan side, you're going to have 2. That way you ain't got to sit there and flip it up and try to figure out which one's which or trace wires. On every combination capacitor that you have, common always has 4 spade connections coming up. Hermetic has 3 spade connections coming up. Fan has 2 spade connections coming up. All right, so the way everybody was taught to check a capacitor, and we'll see which one's which. We go ahead and put our meter on microfarads right there, and you already grounded out the capacitor, so we just go ahead and check it and say, oh, look at that, we need to change out my capacitor. No, we're good. So you see how much we're bouncing around there? And that could just be because my batteries are halfway bad, but so we're running about 32 to 33, but this sucker's bouncing like crazy. And usually that's just because you need to scratch into those connections a little bit and get a better deal. So there we go, 33.4. So plus or minus 6%, we're within range, right? All right, so now that's the one way to check it. Now, I'm gonna go into another way of checking it here in a minute. And I want to tell you guys why, in my personal opinion, my way, well, it's not my way, I didn't make it up, but the way I like to train all my technicians to take care of this, I find it a lot better. So I'm going to go ahead and crank this unit up real quick. All right, so first thing we need to know is what is the amperage on our start windings. Start winding is going to be coming off the capacitor, going to your compressor on the hermetic side. This one right here is my start winding. So I got 4.53. The next thing I'm going to do is pull out my calculator. Maybe. All right, so here we go. 4.5, okay, we'll call it 4.58. 4.58. Next up, we're still on, we're gonna everything in this son of a bitch has the potential to kill you. We'll keep that one out of there. All right, so 353 volts. All right, so first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna check our amperage on our hermetic side of the compressor, on the start windings, coming off to the capacitor right there, 4.53. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go 4.53 times 2652. That equals 11,748. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to check our voltage on our capacitor. 354. So now we're going to divide this number by that. Divided by 354 equals 33.18. We got a 35 microfarad capacitor. I can't remember exactly what we were at before, but what this does, now okay, there's two reasons I say this is easier. One, I know it sounds more complicated because we just went through all that and we were having to run all that. But the more times you do this, it's amazing how fast you get at it. You're not having to check notes, you're not having to check what the formula is or anything like that. I've been out of the field for I don't know how many years, and you know, I might have to look up my numbers again, but this is still easier for me to do. The other reason I like my guys doing it this way is because it's giving you what your amperage is, or what your capacitance is on that capacitor under actual load of the compressor while that's running. So it's not an artificial load that your meter's putting on there, it's the actual load from that compressor that's running on there. The third and final reason that I think this is a much better way of doing it, the number one callback that I believe any company gets after a maintenance is the fact that somebody left one of the wires off of the capacitor and the unit's not running when they go after they left, because it was the last thing they checked. So that on top of everything else eliminates that callback issue right there by itself. So for those three reasons, I believe this is better. It's a better practice. And if you want to throw something else in there, hey, you know what? You can look smart while the customer's out there and you pull out your calculator and you're doing all these fancy calculations and they're like, yeah, we got a bad capacitor. Plus or minus 6%, if you fall within less than 6% on what the rating is for the capacitor is failed. It's not weak, it's not nothing, it's failed. It's going to cause strain on the compressor or whatever motor that it's trying to turn. It's failed. It needs to be replaced. The other thing I like to do, I try to instruct all my guys to do, obviously as we come back and forth to maintenances all the time, make things easier for yourself. So on this one, I can actually read 35 plus 5. How many capacitors come up to that the label's worn off, or you could barely sketch out a reading on there, or you actually had to pull out what the reading is supposed to be by cross-referencing the compressor or motor that you're on there and finding out the actual capacitance that it requires. So what I like to do is write that microfarads down on the capacitor itself. Hey, this is a 35 plus 5. Now I know next time I come up there, it's in big black Sharpie marker. I can easily see it and identify it and do my calculations real quick. So there you go, folks. So it's real simple. Start windings times 2652 divided by your voltage on the capacitor. Gives you your capacitance, your microfarads that this capacitor is putting out. If it's plus or minus 6% of there within, it's good. If it's below that, it's bad. It's failed. It needs to be replaced. All right, y'all take care. God bless. Hey, look, if y'all are looking for more tips, we're always looking for your feedback and we want to answer your questions, and we will on a regular basis on our YouTube channel. So subscribe right here to our YouTube channel. Not here, here to our YouTube channel. And we'll try to make sure we take care of all the questions and answer them efficiently for you. Y'all take care. God bless.